Hey, what's going on? Dr. Gonzo, Boogie here again, back for part 4 of me showing you guys my complete horror VHS tape collection. And in this video, plus the next few videos, I'm going to be highlighting on and showing you guys all of my classic horror movie tapes. And in this video, I'm going to start off with the Hammer horror tapes. In the next few videos, I'm actually going to start going through and showing you guys all my Universal Monster tapes, which I have a ton of Universal Monster tapes, so I can't wait to get to that. But at the end of this video, I have some other stuff too, some Vincent Price movies and some other random classic horror stuff. So I'm just going to get going, and I'm going to start off with the Hammer releases. So first off here, we have The Mummy. This is the first movie in the Hammer Mummy series, of course, and this one came out in the late 50s. And I thought the cover design on this release is a little bit weird, kind of reminds me of like a Goosebumps book. You guys see what I'm saying? But this is a classic Warner Brothers tape, and this is a really good Hammer movie. This one has Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in it, and any Hammer movie that has both of those guys in it is just a great movie. So, and this is one of the earlier Hammer releases, and the earlier Hammer films are some of the best ones too. So this is just an awesome movie. Highly recommend this one, and a pretty cool looking tape too. So next up, I'll be going through and showing you guys all my Dracula Hammer films, and I think I have all the Hammer Dracula movies on tape, but I can't remember. But I'll just go through and show you guys what I got anyway. So first up here, of course, we got Horror of Dracula. This is the first film in Hammer's Dracula series, and again, one of the best in the Hammer Dracula series. This one also has Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in it, and this has Christopher Lee as Dracula in one of his most classic film roles ever, and this has Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, another one of his classic film roles. So this is just one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's another one of these Warner Brothers tapes. I actually have 2 copies of this tape. One of them is in slightly better condition than the other, but I figured I would hold on to both of them just because it's such a great movie. Next up, we got Rights of Dracula, which is a direct sequel to Horror of Dracula, and actually Christopher Lee is not in this one because it actually picks up right where the last one left off, where Dracula gets killed off. So Dracula isn't in this one. He doesn't get resurrected into the third Hammer movie, but Peter Cushing reprises his role as Van Helsing in this movie. So even though Christopher Lee isn't in this movie, this one is so worth checking out. Would not pass on this one before that reason. This is still a really great classic Hammer horror film right here. It's from Universal, MCA Universal Home Video. Another really awesome tape there. So next up here, we have Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. Just an awesome title for a horror movie there. This is a really cool looking tape too. Can't go wrong with Christopher Lee as Dracula. I'm a huge fan of all the Hammer Dracula movies. Next up here, we have Taste the Blood of Dracula, and this is probably my favorite title for any of the Hammer movies. Just a really fun, cool title there, Taste the Blood of Dracula. This also has a really cool, interesting cover design on this tape too. Got Christopher Lee there, showing his fangs. This is from Warner Brothers, this tape. Right, so next up here, Dracula AD 1972. Really cool movie here. And this one actually brings Dracula to the present, which was 1972 when this movie came out. And all the other movies took place a long time ago. I'm not exactly sure when the Dracula Hammer movies take place, but sometime in the 1800s, I think, something like that. I have to look into that. But this one brings Dracula into the 1970s, which is really fun. A fun idea. Can't go wrong with that. And this is a really cool, fun movie. And this one I still have sealed. Can't go wrong with that. Another Warner Brothers release. And then last for the Hammer, and last for the Hammer Dracula movies, is the Rights of Dracula, also known as the Satanic Rights of Dracula. And this is probably one of the easiest Hammer movies to find because it's in public domain. This is just a budget release from Gemstone Entertainment, and I'm sure the quality on this tape isn't that good, but I'm still glad I got it anyway. But the cool thing about this one is this one actually It's kind of like a sequel to this one because it takes place in the modern 70s of the time. So this one sequelizes Dracula AD 1972, and I really like both of these movies. I think they're both really cool, fun movies. Alright, so next up here, I'm pretty sure this is an Amicus production, and this is The House That Dripped Blood, another really cool title for a movie here from the author of Psycho. Wasn't aware of that. And actually, I got to get around to watching this. I don't have this on DVD, and I haven't checked out this tape yet. But I've heard this movie is awesome. You got, I think Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing are both in this movie, and I'm pretty sure that's Peter Cushing's head on that plate there. Just a really awesome cover design on this release here, too. Can't go wrong with that. Alright, so next up here, though, I have a few Vincent Price movies. Just going to go through those real quick. Actually, real quickly, before I get to the Vincent Price, I have another Amicus release, and this is Tales from the Crypt. And, of course, this isn't the 90s TV series, but this is the 1972 anthology movie put out by Amicus Productions, and they worked with a lot of the same actors and same themes that the Hammer horror movies did, so it's basically like the sister of Hammer Horror, the Amicus Productions. And in the 70s, they put out a ton of anthology horror movies, and I've seen a handful of them, and this one is probably my favorite out of all the ones that I've seen. Really cool stuff here. And Peter Cushing is in this one, too, so never go wrong with Peter Cushing. Right, but like I said, I got some Vincent Price. I'll get on to that next. And both of these tapes are actually from this really cool Vincent Price collection released by Orion Home Entertainment, and I have two tapes from the series. I actually just picked both these up recently at two different thrift stores, and I'd never heard of this Vincent Price collection before, and just recently I found both of these around the same time, so definitely looking forward to picking up more of these if there is any more. So let me just show you guys the two I got, though. I got Cry of the Banshee. Awesome stuff here, and these tapes just look really cool, too. And The Mask of the Red Death. This is one of the Edgar Allan Poe based stories that Roger Corman directed. All those movies are really, really cool. Roger Corman is one of my favorite directors, actually. And these tapes look really nice next to each other, so I love to pick more of these up, because I'm sure if you had a bunch of these on a shelf, they would look really, really cool next to each other. Right, then I got another Vincent Price movie here. This is Return of the Fly, the sequel to the Fly movie from the 50s. And the sequel for this movie is really cool, too. I like both of these movies, I would say, almost equally. Return of the Fly with Vincent Price. Really cool cover design there, too. Vincent Price. Gotta love the Vincent Price face there. Right, so next up here we have the Ed Wood classic, Plan 9 from Outer Space. And I thought the cover on this tape was pretty funny. It has a lot of random text written all over this. This is from the Schlock Theater, The Best of the Worst series from Good Times Home Entertainment. And since this is a Good Times tape, I'm guessing the quality on this is probably shitty. But I'll check it out one of these days, because I actually don't have Plan 9 from Outer Space on DVD right now, so I'll have to check this one out, see if it plays or not. But some of the funny text on this, it has winner of the Golden Turkey Award, and then down here at the bottom, there's like this little text box that says, I count the mistakes, cheap sets, including cardboard tombstones that wobble, rubber rockets, ridiculous acting, see the strings on the flying saucers, and more. So it just basically just points out everything ridiculous about the movie right on the cover. But really like this movie, and I really like Ed Wood. Just really fun stuff. Alright, and then last for this video is the only tape I have in an awesome tape series called Grandpa Munster Presents. And all these tapes are really hard to find and kind of expensive. And this is, of course, Nosferatu, the classic silent horror movie. But the really, really cool thing about these tapes is Grandpa Munster, from the Munsters, of course, introduces all of these tapes and kind of is like the host of these tapes, kind of like Elvira status, I would say. He introduces the movie at the beginning and then gives it a rating at the end. And his rating for this one is, I'm guessing, 3 bats out of 4 or 5. I'm not sure what the rating system is here, but Grandpa Munster says it's a scary, silent classic. So these are really cool tapes, and I would love to get more of these. Can't go wrong with the Grandpa Munster Presents. So that was it, guys, for part 4, and I'll see you guys next time in part 5.